I got a few tools here that we're going to discuss and go over as we talk about easy and simple ways to put together video for doing online marketing and web presentations and so forth, doing things on Facebook. This here's just a simple tripod. It has a little adapter here for a cell phone. You can pick these up cheap, Best Buy, Walmart, many places you can pick up just a simple tripod like this with the phone adapter. This is a smaller tripod that I've had for many years, and the mount on the tripod is universal. It's just a screw-in mount. Got a Bluetooth pair of headphones here that we'll be going over, and I'll show you how I use them. Have a paper clip here, just one of those black springy paper clips. I use that to clip the Bluetooth to my collar so it's not so much in the shot. And this is an old cell phone. Everybody has an old cell phone. This is one that still connects well to the internet. I've got an app on there, Easy Voice Recorder, and it's typically what I use to do a lot of my video production. And once again, I'll be going through and explaining how I use that in a moment. But these are just 4 or 5 little essential tools to make a simple video. You know, one of the things I've learned in life is it's much better to do something very well that's simple than do something complicated that's poor. So we're going to start with that which is simple and get used to doing video and seeing ourselves on the video and looking at how we present so we can get familiar with it and learn how to do it quickly and efficiently. So I've got my other phone here, and I've looked up something that I quite like, something that I relate to, that I'm going to use on this Bluetooth headset right here. And I'm going to put this into my ear, the Bluetooth side, and play the video and just repeat the video and film myself speaking what I'm hearing from the video. Now, when you choose a video, choose something that resonates with you. Choose something that you're passionate about, that makes sense to you, because what that does is it puts you into a position where you're speaking articulately about something that you're passionate about. And it's a habit pattern of speech that you develop by doing that. So go online, go to YouTube preferably, or someplace, and find a video of somebody speaking, even if it's audio. It doesn't matter, because you're going to be saying it all audio anyway. But find something that you're passionate about, something that's short, something that you can replicate, something that you can video yourself speaking, so that you can get used to seeing yourself on film or on video and being in a position to look at that and evaluate it and get comfortable before the lens. So what I simply do is I take the clip. I don't use an expensive headset or anything. I'm just going to put this up and clip this onto my collar after I put this ear clip in, this earpiece. I'm just going to clip this onto my collar so it's not floating. I don't have that other wire hanging down my neck on the other side. And that way I can hear. I'm only listening in one ear. And I'm going to go ahead and start playing this video and recording it so I can get comfortable before the lens. And I've done this with a lot of different things in the past. I do the same process with a couple of extra steps as when I'm producing and shooting my own videos. I don't like teleprompters simply because I'm dyslexic. You know, let's be honest, at my reading skills, when I read verbally, they suck. I would rather listen and speak. It comes off much more naturally for me, but do as whatever suits you best. But this works best for me. So let's go ahead and rock and roll. Well, a habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through repetition. A habit is when you've done something so many times that your body now knows how to do it without entertaining your mind. So when you think about it, people wake up in the morning, they begin to think about their problems. Those problems are circuits, memories in the brain, Each one of those memories are connected to people and things at certain times and places. And if the brain is a record of the past, the moment they start their day, they're already thinking in the past. Each one of those memories has emotion. Emotions are the end product of past experiences. So the moment they recall those problems, they feel unhappy, they feel pain. Now, how you think and how you feel create your state of being. So the person's entire state of being when they start their day is in the past. So what does that mean? The familiar past will soon or later become the predictable future. So if you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, and you can't think greater than how you feel, your feelings have become the way of thinking by very definition of emotion. You're thinking in the past. And for the most part, you're going to keep creating the same life. So then people grab their cell phone, they check their WhatsApp, they check their text, they check their email, look at their Facebook, take a picture of their feet, post it on Facebook, tweet it. They do Instagram, look at the news. And now they feel really connected to everything that's known in their life. And then they go through a series of routine behaviors. They get out of bed on the same side. They go to the toilet, they get a cup of coffee, they take a shower, get dressed, drive to work the same way, do the same things, meet the same people, push the same emotional buttons. And that becomes a routine. It's like a program. And so now they've lost their free will to a program. And there's no unseen hand doing it to them. So when it comes time to change, the redundancy of that cycle becomes a subconscious program. Now, 95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired perceptions, and it functions like a computer program. So now a person can say with 5% of their conscious mind, I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, I want to be free. But the body is on a whole different program. So then how do you begin to make those changes? Well, you have to get beyond the analytical mind, because what separates the conscious from the subconscious is the analytical mind. Now, this is where meditation comes in. How to change your brain waves and slow them down. And learning how to do it properly, you enter the operating system of the brain where you can make some awesome changes. So most people wait for crisis, trauma, disease diagnosis, tragedy to make up their mind to change. And my message is, why wait? If you're going to change, you may as well change in a state of joy and inspiration rather than pain and suffering. The cool thing now is that people are waking up. It's really interesting to look at how society is beginning to operate, and more people are starting to understand this process of reprogramming their brain, learning how to be present. Meditation is on the rise. So then people, when they have an event, what they do is they keep recalling the event, because the emotions, the stress hormones, the survival emotions, the same are saying, pay attention to what happened because you want to be prepared if it happens again. Turns out most people spend 70% of their life living in survival and living in stress. They're always anticipating the worst case scenario based on a past experience. And they're literally, out of the infinite potentials on the quantum field, they're selecting the worst possible outcome and beginning to emotionally embrace it and conditioning their body into a state of fear. And if you do that enough times, your body will just have a panic attack without you. You can't even predict it because it's programmed into you subconsciously. So then the hardest thing about change is not making the same choices you did the day before, period. When it comes time to change, a person steps into that river of change and they make a different choice. And all of a sudden, they don't feel the same way. So the body says, well, you've been doing this for 35 years now. Well, all of a sudden, you're just going to stop feeling suffering and stop feeling guilty and stop feeling shameful. You're not going to complain or blame or judge or feel sorry for yourself. The body's in the unknown. So the body says, I want to turn back to familiar territory. So the body starts influencing the mind and says, start tomorrow. You're too much like your mother. You're never going to change. This isn't going to work for you. This doesn't feel right. And if you respond to that thought as if it's true, that same thought will lead to the same choice, which will lead to the same behavior and create the same experience
which will produce the same emotion. So you can see how this is just a cycle where your body craves certain emotions and wants your mind to produce it. Your body, in that sense, is your unconscious mind. In a sense, if you're sitting down and you start thinking about some future worst case scenario that you're conjuring up in your mind, and you begin to feel the emotion of that event, your body doesn't know the difference between the event that's taking place in your world and what you're creating by emotion and thought alone. So most people then, they're constantly reaffirming their emotional states. So when it comes time to give up that emotion, they can say, well, I really want to do it, but really the body is stronger than the mind because it's been conditioned that way. So the servant now has become the master. And the person all of a sudden, once they step into that unknown, they'd rather feel guilt and suffering because at least they can predict it. In the unknown is a scary place. It's uncertain. And some people say to me, well, I can't predict my future. I'm in the unknown. And I say the best way to predict your future is to create it. Not from the known, but from the unknown. What thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? What behaviors do you want to stimulate? The act of rehearsing mentally and closing your eyes and going through the action in your vision, by closing your eyes and mentally rehearsing it, if you're truly present, the brain does not know the difference between what you're imaging and what you're experiencing in a 3D world. So then you begin to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like the event has already occurred. Now your brain is no longer a record of the past. Now it's a map to the future. And if you keep doing it and priming it that way, the hardware becomes a software program. And who knows, maybe someday you'll start acting like a happy person. And I think the hardest part is to teach our body emotionally what the future will feel like ahead of the actual experience. So what does that mean? You can't wait for your success to feel empowered. You can't wait for your wealth to feel abundant. You can't wait for your new relationship to feel love or your healing to feel whole. My thinking and my feelings change the outcome of my life. That's a whole different game. You start believing that you are creators of the outcome. If you're not being defined by a vision of the future, then you are left of the old memories of the past, and therefore you will be predictable in your life. And if you wake up in the morning and you're not being defined by a vision of the future, as you see the same people and you go to the same places and you do the exact same thing at the exact same time, it's no longer that your personality is creating your personal reality. Your personal reality is creating your life. Your environment is really controlling how you think and feel. Because every person, everything, every place, every experience in your life is a neurological network in your brain. Every experience that you have with every person produces an emotion. So what I've done here is I've just gone ahead and listened to that whole video. I know it's long, and just repeated it and spoke what he spoke using my voice, my emotions, my intention. And now I can go back and I can look at that on the video and see how I look. And as I do that, I get much more comfortable being right here in front of the camera. So when it comes time to do my video, it's not a new skill to me. It's something I've already done. And I take this same pattern and I use this same pattern when I'm producing something either for myself or something for a commercial basis, something in my video studio. What I'll do is I go ahead and I lay out pieces of paper and I'll write down my thoughts of what I want to speak about, and I just put them in order. And then I've got an app on this phone that's Easy Voice Recorder, and there's all kinds of voice recorder apps out there. They're all over the place. Your app store has one. You just download any of them. You go through and you record what you want to speak. So when you're in front of the video camera, you're not having to think. You're not having to engage with processing everything in your head and, oh, am I forgetting something? How did that sound? How did that come off? You've already laid the foundation for that. And now you're just going through and you're plugging that into your brain and out of your mouth so you can focus on your delivery of your information via the video. And it's a powerful way to do this. One of the things I'll do is I'll go through and I'll look at something that I quite like, and I'll break it down on a basis of format, of a pattern. And I'll listen to what's going on. I'll say, well, first he's putting a situation in place, and now he's creating the story, and now he's asking a question about the story, and now he's asking how that relates to your life, and this is how it's affected me. And I put that pattern down. I'll write that pattern out when I find something that I want to duplicate, and then I'll go through that same pattern, and then I put my information into it. What is the story I'm telling? What is the information I'm getting? What are the questions I want to ask of my audience to engage them? What do I want to be telling them about how my life is related? And I'll use that format. I'll write that out. Then I go through and I use my sheets of paper and I plug my information into that system. So now it's somebody else's pattern that's done very, very well. I don't have to create the pattern. I just install my information in that same kind of a pattern, put it on the record, pump it into my ear, do it on the video. And this is one of the ways I've learned to shortcut what I do for producing video and doing it in a way that makes me comfortably, how would I put this? I have learned to develop speech patterns in my brain by doing this, where I'm not having to think my way through the process. It's already laid out for me, and as a result, it's an accelerated way to learn how to speak and act and be in front of video, where you're not trying to do everything all at once. You're breaking it up, putting the information down in a format, getting it all recorded so that you can be present to the recording because you've already done all the backup work before you got to this place right here. My name is Phil Laerdal. I hope you've enjoyed this video. This works great for short videos, long videos, anything you're doing with interfacing with stock video or photography, stock photography. There's many ways you can do this. We haven't gotten into sound. We haven't gotten into lighting. I haven't done any of that. I've kept this simple because simple is best to start with. Get good at this. And then we can start looking at other things as we go along the process and refining and honing and putting finer touches on them. Once again, my name is Phil Laerdal, and I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed putting it together. Thank you for your time.